Hey everyone, and welcome to my best of 2021 video. This is something that is a bit different, but I wanted to do this because it seemed like fun. But these are my personal best movies of 2021. I know there's going to be one that's going to be controversial, because every list has one that's always controversial. But these are my personal picks. You may have totally different picks, and that's fine. But these are my personal best. So without further ado, let's start with some honorable mentions. Cruella was a movie I was kind of going heads and tails with, because I was going, okay, looks pretty. It's Emma Stone, you know, I can see her doing the character well, but I'm hoping the story's good. And when I went and saw it, I was generally surprised on how much I liked it. I think it was London. Looked great. Emma Stone, she really knocked it out of the park as Cruella de Vil, but I'm also thinking it's Emma Stone. She's great in everything. And the story was pretty good. It felt very much kind of like Peacemaker, where you know he's a villain, but you end up caring for him. And it's the same boat here. My main problem is that towards the end, it started getting a little bit silly. And it was just like, that's not what this is about. It's not supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be more serious. So it kind of just, it lost some points in that regard. Not everything in the movie worked for me, but I did love the costume design, and I'm glad it's being nominated for an Oscar. I hope it wins. But yeah, that's why Cruella's off my top 10. Mortal Kombat was a movie that a lot of people were kind of heads and tails with, because they're going to go like, oh boy, yeah, it's rated R, but who knows, this could be bad. And when I saw it, this is a fun popcorn movie. It's a movie that's you're not supposed to take seriously, because it's based on a fighting video game. So I was thinking to myself, like, look, this movie, it's solely focused, like, kind of like, I forget I think of Step Up, those dance movies. As long as the dancing is good, you know. And in this, most of the fights are good, but it mainly comes down to the gore. The gore was really cool. Most of the acting was fine. I also did like how it added in some humor, but problems is that story was just kind of our main guy that we're supposed to follow, he just wasn't all that interesting. I wish it kind of went the road that that Paul W. Sanderson's movie did, where it was like you're following just these fighters instead of a brand new person that encounters these fighters. So I wish it did somewhat like that, but that's just me. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It was a movie that took me generally by surprise, because when it was announced that they were doing a third one, I was going, okay, cool. Oh, James Wan's not coming back to direct it? Oh. It's the same director as Curse of La Llorona? Oh. Yeah, no. And then I saw it, and it generally took me by surprise. I think with Curse of La Llorona, the only thing that really worked for me in that movie was the atmosphere and the way it built up to the scares. They bring that back in this, and it works pretty well. But in this, you also have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, who are just great as these people. It's just that I saw better movies this year, so it kicked it out. But I generally thought this movie was pretty good, and they said that this was the last one that they were doing. So, which is sad, but you know, things must come to an end. And finally, let's get to my top 10. Number 10, here's the controversial one. The Matrix Resurrections. This was one that I was kind of heads and tails with, because I'm going like, okay, it's cool to see Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss back together in something. That's cool. But how are they going to continue this? And I'm going to be honest, the first like 30, 40 minutes was a bit slow, but also I did like how they played with, is this world that he's in, is this reality or is this the Matrix? I did like that. And then when they say what it is, it was like, oh, see, that's what I thought. The action is cool to look at. Some things didn't work for me, but that's just me. So I don't know. I personally liked this movie. It fixes stuff from 2 and 3, which I liked. And it does kind of set up a new trilogy, which they could end up doing. But this movie was kind of like The Last Jedi, where it's very mixed. So who knows? Number 9 is The Mitchells vs. the Machines, the best animated movie I saw this year, and a movie that wasn't even on my radar. This was, I started hearing about this thanks to Twitter. And there was people on Twitter that were tweeting about it, saying like, oh my god, this is like so good. Like, it's very funny. It has a nice heart. And I'm going like, okay, I'll put this on my watch list. And then I watched it and I was like, wow, this was very, very good. And it comes with, I think when it comes to like Sony's animated movies in the past, a lot of them have been like, from what I see, I'm going like, this doesn't look very good, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Hotel Transylvania, where they look okay, but I'm still going like, I'm not too sure about it until I actually see them, and I'm going, wow, those were actually generally really funny. This was in that same boat. I didn't think this was going to be very good, and then I saw it and I was like, wow, you guys took a decades-old concept, Beware of Technology, and actually managed to do something new and funny with it. So I really liked it in that regard. So this was my favorite animated movie of the year, and yeah, I had so much fun with this one. Number 8, it is VHS 94, and this movie I was looking forward to for a long time, because I do quite enjoy the VHS movies, more so 1 and 2. Viral can go, that one can get deleted. But yeah, I enjoy most of the first one. I really enjoy the second one, and yeah, Viral, just go die. But I really wanted to see more of these, because this is something that I really kind of miss, is like these anthology type movies. And then it was announced that Shudder had picked up, either they picked up the rights or they were going to produce a new VHS movie. And I was instantly excited. There's some old blood that come in, and there's some new blood that come in. And I'm gonna be completely honest, is that this one, I think is my second favorite of the series, but there were still problems I had with it. Main so the wraparound, the whole story of how these segments are connected didn't really work. Each of the segments, I thought there was going to be one where it was like, okay, I liked this better than this one, and there is. But when I look back at it, I go like, I forgot how good and scary each one was. So, and gory too. That's what VHS is, that the gore is really awesome. But the wraparound story with the SWAT team going into the building, it started out okay, and then just started going downhill, and then the ending just made no sense, to then almost kill the movie. But then when I look back at it, I'm going like, yeah, those segments were, I came there for the segments, and boy did they not disappoint. And so this was my second favorite of the series and a really, really fun sequel. Number 7 is No Time to Die, and No Time to Die is by far a perfect movie. It's not like the big epic conclusion that we could have gotten with Daniel Craig's Bond, but it is a really, really good one. This one, I think, if it wasn't as long as it was, because this was like between 2.5 and 3 hours, and they wrote a little bit. They wrote Rami Malek's villain a little bit better. This could have been a lot better movie, but I still enjoyed it. There were some things where I'm going like, okay, I want to see more of this, less of this. This I thought was cool. This was annoying me. But yeah, overall, it's a really, really great movie, and I had a lot of fun. And Daniel Craig is the Bond that I grew up watching. And number 6 is Nobody, and man, this movie came out of nowhere. This was definitely a movie that I had to, thanks to Twitter, I found out about, because the trailer came out like a couple months before the movie did. So I'm immediately going like, okay, I'm putting this on my watch list, because I really enjoy the John Wick movies. I really enjoy Bob Odenkirk as an actor, and I also really liked Hardcore Henry. And when I find out that it's the same writer as John Wick, Bob Odenkirk's in it, being awesome and being a badass, and it's the same director as Hardcore Henry, sign me up. So this movie was just so much fun, and it's all Bob Odenkirk doing his own fight scenes, which was awesome to see, which is honestly what more action movies should be like. This was a super fun movie that was action-packed, also surprisingly hilarious. Like, I was not expecting to laugh as much as I did during this movie. This was a fun movie, and a movie that I immediately, once it came out on physical release, I instantly bought it. And number 5 is DC's The Suicide Squad, or James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. And boy, was I looking forward to this movie for a while. Once it was announced that James Gunn was going to be writing and directing a Suicide Squad reboot, I was like, all right, go ahead. And then they announced the cast and just how big it was. And I was going, all right, you have me. Then I went and saw it, and boy, did it not disappoint. This was so much fun. It has James Gunn's humor all over it. Like, if you watch his previous movies like Super or Slither, they have his style all over it, where it's funny, could be somewhat offensive, but also very bloody and gory. And this, I think, is what more superhero or anti-hero or supervillain properties should be more like. And if you haven't watched Peacemaker, just go watch it. It's awesome. And this is honestly, with this and Peacemaker, it's one of the best things that DC's produced in recent years. Number 4 is Malignant, and boy, was I looking forward to this movie. I'm a big fan of James Wan's horror stuff, like The Conjuring or Insidious, or even his first Saw movie. And I was really looking forward to this because it was his return to horror ever since he did Conjuring 2. And boy, did it deliver. I really like movies that are scary. The atmosphere is scary, but also this movie knows exactly what it is. The dialogue, it knows it's silly on purpose. It knows it's a concept. It's silly. And I really enjoy these not too serious horror movies. And because of that, because it wasn't so serious, this movie kind of got shot down, and which really disappoints me. You know, people are like, it was really silly. Well, it was supposed to be. And the gore was awesome. The gore was cool, and yeah, I really enjoyed the ride I went on, and with a twist that was just so unreal and just unbelievable that my mouth was to the floor. It made me love this movie even more, and a movie that once I heard it came out on physical release, I instantly bought it. Candyman for a couple months was my top movie of the year until number 2 came and then number 1 showed up. This is very much an art house film. This is produced and co-script written by Jordan Peele, who I like quite a bit. I really love Get Out. I really like Us, and I can't wait for Nope. But with Nia DaCosta also writing it and also directing it, I really didn't know who she was because I didn't see her previous movie, because she did another movie before this. I saw her Candyman short, which was amazing. And now she's doing the Marvels, or Captain Marvel 2 for Marvel. This took me completely by surprise. I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. It's a movie where I saw the runtime and instantly got worried because it was like 90 minutes on the dot. And I was like, oh no, this is probably not going to be as good. But I can understand why people don't really care for this movie, because did I want more from it? Yes. But was it able to fit as much as it could in that 90-minute runtime? Yes. The acting was very good. It's not like it was a movie that wasn't like super scary to me. It was more like the psychological mind frame that this character is going on. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and another movie that I instantly ran out and bought. Last Night in Soho then took number 1 away from Candyman, and then a month later, number 1 showed up. I was looking forward to this movie for a while because it was done by Edgar Wright, and I love his stuff, like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And I also love how Edgar Wright changes genres all the time, like horror, like comedy horror, to then comedy action, and then science fiction, and then romance, and then back to action, and now documentary, and now this is just a straight up horror. And I was expecting there to be like comedic stuff, and there is, but it's very slim because it's mainly focusing on horror, which I liked. I think this was definitely a movie, along with Candyman and number 1, that were so snubbed by the Oscars. It really saddens me. But the acting was great. Cinematography I thought was great as well. The way it flips back and forth between Mackenzie and Taylor-Joy, and also the dance scene that I apparently read was 1 take, and then I started seeing like behind the scenes footage, and it was 1 take. I was like, wow, that was really cool and very impressive, and must have been a pain to do. But yeah, this was a great movie that took number 1 away from Candyman until number 1 showed up. Ghostbusters Afterlife was a movie I've been waiting on for years, for so many years, and it finally came out, and I rushed out to see it, and I loved every minute of it. This was originally going to come out in 2020, and then it kept getting delayed, and then got to 2021, and then finally at the end of the year. And boy, did this movie not disappoint. This movie was the first movie in a long time that actually legitimately like made me bawl my eyes out. Like, when the credits started happening, it was like I could fill a bucket of my tears. and not everything worked in the movie. It started out kind of slow because it's reintroducing Ghostbusters back. But it was awesome to see the old characters come back, because it was kind of like watching because I love Ghostbusters and I watched the original so many times, and it's my favorite movie all time. I grew up watching it. It's the movie that made me want to study film and love film, and to see my childhood, some of my childhood heroes come back was just amazing. And this was just, oh my god, it was great how they brought Gozer back. It was great how they brought the original team back, but also a very nice way to pass on the torch to the new kids, and a very quite amazing tribute to Harold Ramis. And it also very saddens me that Ivan Reitman, this was the last thing he did. But you know, he is very much, Ghostbusters wouldn't be the same without him. So I loved this movie so much that I instantly ran out and got the Ultimate Collection, where it comes with all 3 of the movies. Yes, I said 3. And there's my top 10 list. Very different from a lot of people's, and honestly, some of these movies I see in worst of movies, like Malignant or Matrix, which I can understand. Well, Matrix I can understand. Malignant I cannot. I can't. I love that movie. So I really appreciate you watching. I would love to do like more of these list type videos in the future. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of my list. Probably not gonna like it, disagree, say you're wrong. Oh well. Well, let me know what movies you liked this year. And I'll see you next time.